In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add your net yarn into a purl row of knitting. You can see I have made this little piece in stocking knit stitch, and we've already added the net yarn onto the knit side. Now we're going to add the net yarn onto the purl side. Quick refresher in the net yarn. The bottom is usually decorative and thicker. It's a little thicker here, sometimes it's decorative. And then from there on up it's a net. You can see here. The part that we actually use to knit or purl from are these very top loops. Here's a loop, here's a loop, here's a loop, okay? When it is on the skein or the ball, it looks like this. It doesn't quite look like a net, so you kind of have to take a hold of it if you're not used to it and you're not sure. Just look at it and see if it opens up into a net. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't always realize that this is the actual net yarn. So, to do a purl stitch, this is a little different than when we did the knit. You're actually you're basically using the net just like you're using your other yarn. Eventually you get the hang of how to hold everything. It might look a little awkward the way I'm doing it here because I'm going to try to go slow and really make sure you can see every single part that you're doing. So I don't want to hold everything together where you can't see what's happening. So we're going to start with our purl stitch. And we get to the yarn over, and then you also need to yarn over with the next loop of your net yarn. And then just finish your purl stitch. So again, you make your purl, yarn over, also yarn over with the next loop of your net yarn. Finish your stitch. Start your purl, yarn over, also yarn over with the next loop of your net yarn. You just keep going. Yarn over, add on the net yarn. Okay, now you may decide that you want to have more ruffle in your net than this. That's not too difficult. Yarn over, and this time when you yarn over with your net yarn, you're adding the next loop of your net yarn and one more. Now you have put two of them into that stitch. Start your purl, 1, 2 loops. Start your purl, yarn over, 1, 2. Start your purl, yarn over, 1, 2. Okay, so you can see there's where I had just one net stitch into each purl, and here's where I had 2 net loops onto each purl. You can see the difference, and this will add your net yarn onto the purl side of your work. When you come back, let me just purl the rest of this real quick for you, so you can see what you do when you come back. When you come back, whatever sort of a stitch or whatever you're doing, no matter how many pieces of yarn you're using here, when you get back to your work, you now need to use, you see how we have our regular yarn and 2 loops from the net. We need to work with those as though they were one. Okay, our regular yarn, our 2 loops of our net, we're going to work with them as though they're one. There you go again, work them as though they're one. And here we've done only 1 loop, so we have our regular yarn and our 1 loop of net, and we're just working them as though we're one. They're one. If you don't catch them, if you just do this, if you only catch the regular yarn, your net yarn will come loose. Okay, and all your work will be for naught. So Make sure you catch them as though they're one. Alright, and you'll get this little, you can see the V, which just becomes part of your design choice. And here you have the net yarn coming out from the back, from the purl side of your work, which could be on the front if that's what you wanted. There you have it. I hope that was helpful, and you can always find more help over here at jessieathome.com.